Feeling the pulse of the road and the future of flight, from viral trends to policy shifts, we cut through the traffic to bring you the stories that drive us. Your fast-track guide to everything on the move starts right now. From the Billionaire News Channel studio to Mellow 947 BFM, sitting in for Paulo Del Rosario, I'm Gie Barroga. And this is Shift Happens. Motorists traveling south will face higher toll fees as the second tranche of approved rate adjustments kicks in on both the SLEX and the Star Tollway. The Toll Regulatory Board or TRB approved the increases under a consolidated petition covering 2018, 2020, 2022, and 2024. Operators split the adjustment into two tranches to cushion the impact. The first tranche took effect last January. On the SLEX, the Alabang to Calamba segment will see Class 1 rates rise by 11 pesos, bringing the toll rate at 137 pesos. Class 2 pays 274 pesos and Class 3 411 pesos. For the shorter Calamba to Santo Tomas stretch, Class 1 is charged 37 pesos, Class 2 pays 74 pesos, and Class 3 111 pesos. On the Star Tollway, rates also go up. From Santo Tomas to Lipa, Class 1 motorists pay 64 pesos, and for the Lipa to Batangas City segment, 57 pesos is set for Class 1. For end-to-end trips from Santo Tomas to Batangas City, Class 1 pays 121 pesos, Class 2 pays 242, and Class 3, 363 pesos. The TRB says the adjustments will fund continued operations and maintenance, keeping both expressways safe and efficient for the thousands of motorists who use them daily. On the tracks, rail commuters are a step closer to easier travel after the Investment Coordination Committee Cabinet Committee or ICC-CC greenlit the LRT-1 South Extension Common Station project. The approval brings the plan to build a unified transit hub connecting LRT-1, MRT-3, the incoming MRT-7, and the Metro Manila subway closer to reality. Once operational, the unified station is estimated to serve 1.28 million passengers daily, all under one roof along North Avenue in Quezon City, ensuring seamless transfers across all four lines. The proposal now moves to the Economy and Development Council, chaired by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., for approval. The Light Rail Transit Authority or LRTA is reminding passengers of shortened LRT2 operations on July 25 to allow for scheduled maintenance work. First trips from both Antipolo and Recto stations will begin at 5 in the morning. The last trip from Antipolo will depart at 7:30 p.m., while the last trip from Recto will be at 8 p.m. During this period, the LRTA will carry out repairs and replacement of the rigid frog nose, the track component that ensures trains move smoothly when switching from one track to another along the main line between V-Mapa and J. Ruiz stations. Passengers affected by the shortened hours may use shuttle vans provided by the LRTA. Several government agencies will also extend assistance and additional transportation, including the Metro Manila Development Authority, the Philippine Ports Authority, the Philippine Coast Guard, and the Philippine National Railways. The LRTA says the repairs are aimed at ensuring passenger safety and advises commuters to plan their trips in advance to avoid inconvenience. Regular operations resume on July 26th, starting at 5 in the morning. Racing is known about speed, competition, and the thrill of crossing the finish line first. But behind every driver is a story of passion, dedication, sacrifice, and the people who help them get there. In the world of motorsports, success is shaped not only by the talent and determination, but also by the people who inspire and support racers along the way. For some families, the love for racing becomes a shared journey, passed down through generations and strengthened by years of competition, learning, and growing together on and off the track.
One of the stories that captures this journey is that of a father and son, united by their passion for racing. Through years of competing and learning together, their bond has grown beyond the track, built on shared experiences, lessons, and a love for the sport. To help us learn more about their journey as father and son in the world of motorsports, we are joined today by one of the country's most decorated and versatile motorsports champions, a multi-title holder across circuit racing, karting, slalom, autocross, Formula Cars, and rallycross, Carlos Anton. Together with his son, the first Filipino to win a Formula 4 championship, a 24-time Philippine national champion, and one of the country's leading international racing drivers, Iñigo Anton.
Hi, Sir Carlos and Sir Iñigo. Iñigo.
Hi. Hi. Thank you for having us. And hello to everybody that's tuned in.
Yes. So, Tito Carlos and of course Iñigo, I've known you for quite a while now, and I know your story in motorsports. But for those who do not know, how did it all start for you, Sir Carlos, and how did you pass it on to your son, Iñigo?
Well, actually, my dad used to race in the 60s with the great legend Pacholo Ramirez, was his teacher. And of course, growing up with my dad who loved cars, we wanted to just get into racing also. So we were given the chance and the opportunity to race. And then, I was hoping that it would end with me. But then when Iñigo was born, he just gravitated towards cars and racing. And, like they say, the rest is history. So we just had to support him. And so that's how it happened.
But wait, let me ask, why did you hope that it would end with you?
Well, yeah, that's funny because I'm scared. I'm scared when it's your own kid now racing. I only realized what I put my parents through when Iñigo started racing. I actually had to apologize to them and say, "Okay, I'm sorry," right?
But for Iñigo, what really hooked you with motorsports and racing? And you're doing lots of disciplines when it comes to motorsports.
Well, for me, it was like what my dad was saying. He thought that it would end with him, and because of just the fear or scare of me racing, they actually hid all their trophies away from me when I was born, and all the cars that were anything related to cars. But they said that my first words were broom broom, and then my second words was car. So it looks like it was innate in me that I wanted to be a race car driver, my grandfather, my grandmother, and also my dad. And from there, he's been guiding me, mentored me, and he showed me that, racing isn't just about one discipline. There's multiple disciplines that you can try, and they're all, very fun. You learn a lot of stuff. And so, yeah, that's how my journey started. It wasn't going to happen, but I said no.
So very clearly, it's in the blood, right?
Yes. But Iñigo, how young were you when you started? And during those siguro studies na ginagawa mo with your dad, what was the most memorable experience that you had back in the day?
Well, I started driving at a very young age of 7 years old. So I learned with my dad right beside me, and we were in a controlled environment in the racetrack. So that's where I started learning how to, gas, brake, all the simple things, and then moved up all the way to manual transmission. And yeah, along the way, of course, just trying to learn from him. There are always moments where we would clash into what we're thinking is right or wrong. And sometimes it's, when I was starting to compete against him, it was all about trying to prove which one was right and which one was faster. So, growing up, being a teammate to my dad and also a rival, that was very memorable moments, especially during the slalom and autocross series.
Now, obviously, you learned a lot from your dad, but are there any iconic drivers, international drivers in history that you sort of emulate and look to at least try to mirror their careers, maybe?
Well, for me personally, my favorite driver or one that I look up to is Max Verstappen. And it goes just from seeing him also become the new rookie, the new face in Formula One around 10 years ago. He was just 17. I was growing up also at that time. I really wanted to see, his passion, his aggressiveness. And that's one thing that I noticed also that I lacked in my own racing. I was too passive, but through watching him and through learning what he does, I learned to become more aggressive in the proper way. And, a cool little fact about that also is that our family number is 33, and he started racing with 33 as well. So it was passed down to generations, and then with my favorite racer, it's also 33 back then. So, but with my dad though, your favorite racer?
Well, my favorite racer is of course Ayrton Senna. From my time, and until now, he's still revered as the greatest of all time. So I try to help Inigo with the mindset of like Senna's mindset, to help him, especially in qualifying and in the time trial days. So it really helps that you have these idols to look up to and for inspiration, and also the other Filipino racers who I raced against, who I found so hard to beat, like sina Mike Potenciano, who's my mentors, and Jojo Silverio, and the Ramirez brothers. They all pushed me to where I got, and now I kind of pass it down to Inigo.
Sir Carlos and Inigo, of the many disciplines that you are doing, what's your most favorite, and bakit iyon?
Well, for me personally, I think I have the most titles in touring car, but I've won titles in Formula car also, and in the other forms of racing. But I think I'm most comfortable. I'm like fish to water when it comes to a touring car. I can just jump in and be on the pace right away. So that's my favorite discipline.
And in terms for me, I would say, I've spent the most time with touring cars, and it is something that I still enjoy no matter what car I race. But for sure, the one that is the most intense, at the same time most exhilarating for me, is of course Formula racing, especially F4. So it is just a whole different feeling. Like when you get into the car, it just does whatever you want it to do. But at the same time, it takes a lot of confidence to master it. So it is a very hard car to learn, but once you get it right, it's also very fun.
But the Tamaraw Cups also.
Yes. Another interesting one too that was just displayed on the screen as well is the Tamaraw Cup. We're excited to go racing again. It's in 2 weeks' time. The TGR Tamaraw Cup. It's the first time I've driven a truck, and let alone it's a race truck as well. It also slides around, so it was really fun. And like my dad and I were always thinking about racing. It's not matter about one discipline. There's a lot of disciplines to learn from, and especially with this Tamaraw Cup recently, at least it is something new for me, and it's a good learning experience.
How's the adjustments like, Inigo? Kasi I know you have a front wheel drive car, you're racing a Formula car, you're racing a truck. How's the transition like from each of these kinds of vehicles?
Well, it is a bit tricky at times. I would say, the first 10-15 minutes of practice jumping in from different cars is, of course, you gotta relearn it. You gotta remember that you have different braking zones, you have different throttle points or steering.
And also the weight of the Tamaraw is like, it's about 500 kilos heavier, but it's as quick as a Vios car.
Yes, yeah. And so it is all about, in racing, about adaptability, because even if it's not just the car, it could be the weather, could be very hot and the car could overheat with the tires, or could be very cool also and very rainy, so you gotta drive very cautiously. So it is all about the adaptability and versatility that you can have. And luckily, I think, with just making myself more experienced with different kinds of disciplines, it helps from jumping from one car to another.
How would you describe the local racing scene? Of course, you're blessed to have to come from a family that really loves the sport, right? But what are you seeing, at least in people your age? Are you seeing also a lot of increased interest probably in the sport, and people wanting to get into the sport? What would you advise? What would you advise these young people who don't know where to start?
Well, for me, now is like the best time compared to when I was growing up. Now we have racetracks in the Philippines where it's a controlled environment. You can actually even go there any day and just pay the fee, and then you practice and learn in the track. And then we have so many grassroots forms of racing. We have slalom, autocross, time attack, grid and bracket racing of the racetracks that anybody is allowed, open to join. And it's a great place to learn. This is the best time to learn. And it'd be the best time to get racing off the streets and onto the racetrack, because we actually have the facilities. my advice is just go out there and do it. Some people, it's just the first step that's missing. Just lakas loob and then join, right? And people will help you. There are always people around to help you. Come to us if no one else helps you.
Oh, there you go.
But what important lessons have you learned in motorsports? But before you answer that, we'll take a short break. And when we return, we'll talk more about the father-son duo and their shared passion for racing, experience in competition, discipline, and legacy. Stay with us as we speak with Carlos and Iñigo Anton about their experiences in motorsports. We'll be right back. You're tuned in into the Billionaire News Channel at Mellow 947 BFM. And we're back. This is Shift Happens on Mellow 947 BFM and BNC, the Billionaire News Channel. I'm Gie Barroga, and still with us is the motoring editor of Business World, Kap Maceda Aguila, and Carlos and Iñigo Anton. So, Sir Carlos and Iñigo, what important life lessons have motorsports taught you?
Well, when it comes to racing, that is one thing that my dad also taught me. So it isn't always just about driving or being your fastest, but motorsport and a lot of sports teach you a lot about life. It teaches you that, to achieve good things or to achieve your goals, you gotta have a lot of preparation and focus onto it. When it comes to, like, for example, a singular race that's coming up like in 2 weeks, all my focus now is that race or it's also about the mental and physical conditioning that you can before the race. And just like in anything in life, be it even just be not from sports, but in other kinds of things, you'll always need that preparation, may it be also just mentally.
Yeah.
I have a curious question. Then this is for the both of you, Carlos and Anton. What do you think about, Iñigo, what do you think about the, what's the mindset for racers when they get to like everyday streets, right? I mean, I'm sure you've seen on the news, so many people are just having road rage left and right, like that. How do you approach even like, because I'm sure you guys are extremely competitive, right? So when you get to the everyday road or streets, how's the mentality like for you guys?
Well, it's kind of like martial arts. If you're, if you're a taekwondo expert, right, and then you can beat up the guy if you're gonna get into a fight with him. So it's like, what's the point? So I don't need to get into a street race with somebody who I know is not even in the same level or in the same status or whatever. And we've always advocated for racing in the track, not in the streets. Of course, I'm no angel. Right? But I mean, that's really what we push for is it has to be on the racetrack because there's so many things that can go wrong in the streets. There, if it's just you against the guy, it's okay. But then there's people crossing the street. There's dogs. There's motorcycles. There's tricycles. There's so many different factors. Other people don't know you'll be racing against each other in the streets. At least in the racetrack, everybody knows you're all going the same direction. No, so we try to keep a cool head. I mean, it's very hard to keep a cool head with the people, how people drive in our country, right? But you just have to keep reminding yourself, just keep a cool head, and sometimes swallow your pride. Also, that's one thing I have to learn. Also, I don't want to be a saint.
How about you, Iñigo? Does that work for you as well? How do you keep it intact, despite other drivers being crazy on the road?
It is, definitely. It is something you'll always have to think about, especially when you're driving. There may be someone who might have accidentally cut you up, or just did some aggressive maneuvers. But at the end of the day, it's like we're rushing for nowhere because we're just going from point A to point B in our life. There's no time, there's no first place or grand prize for being there first. So it's all about just having that mindset that even if you're the one racing, but there's other people around you as well who are not trying to race. So it's about keeping a cool head. And I would say for people also who feel like they want to race or they want to just race in the streets, I gotta tell you, if you just try it in the track once, you'll get sour to driving in the street going fast. It's like you'll use up all your like anger or like motivation and go fast in the racetrack, and then once you drive back home from the racetrack, you'll just feel very calm and like not in a rush.
Yeah, whenever we drive home from the racetrack, we're going so slow.
Yeah,
Quick,
sir.
sorry, I have a quick question though, since we're on this topic. Has it happened that, let's say, a driver beside you recognized you guys and then just wanted to overtake you just because? Let's say, I'm talking about the everyday road, right? And then they recognize you guys. Hey, that's Carlos. Hey, that's Iñigo. I'm gonna get ahead.
I would just be flattered that they recognize me, but you know,
We're like that.
they should just give a thumbs up, and I think we all know it's like, okay, it's cool, right?
Yeah, thank you, Sir Carlos and Iñigo. I hope we had more time, but that's all the time that we have. Those are Carlos and Iñigo Anton, champion racers here and abroad.
All right. And that concludes our roundup of the stories driving the industry forward. I'm Kap Maceda Aguila.
And I'm Gie Barroga. Join us again tomorrow on Shift Happens, your fast-track guide to everything on the move. Keep it here on the Billionaire News Channel and Mellow 947 BFM.